Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review and join the conversation on Instagram at Candy Washington. Let's go!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care. As always, I am your host, Candy Washington, and I cannot wait to help you lead a more joyful life. But before we dive into today's episode, which is all about knowing your worth in relationships, because I thought that we could do a series on romantic relationships and dating advice. I feel like that is so connected to self-love and self-worth and taking care of yourself. So today is the kickoff of a week or so of videos and episodes and courses on knowing your worth, attracting romantic love, and having a healthy relationship that you deserve. So before we kick into today's episode, if you need more support, everything is linked down below. You can pick up the Create Your Dream Life Through Self-Love course that is linked below. You can join our free, at this moment, VIP Facebook group. You can pick up our self-love journal. You can also book some one-on-one coaching. So if you really need that extra support, you can just go ahead and book some private time with me. But in the meantime, if you are just enjoying the valuable and free content and this beautiful, gorgeous community that we have here, go ahead, subscribe to my YouTube, subscribe to the podcast, Sugar Pills, and give me a follow over on Instagram and shoot me a DM if you want to talk. Okay, everyone. Hello. Let's say hi. Hi, Vodka. How are you? She says, hello. Hey, sweetheart. Hi to my Hazel. She goes, yes, drop it in to show some love. Thank you, sweetheart. And then she says, hey, girl. Hey, what's up? Yes, everybody. Yes, so we are about to do it. And if you have any questions while I talk, because I'm going to go over the general lesson of how to know your worth in a romantic relationship. But if you have questions, if you have comments, drop them in the comment box, put them down below, and we can just have a full discussion. And if you also want to call in at any time, let me know and I can drop that link too. Yay, Vodka says up, you're here. Yeah, she says, I'm at work now listening. Yay. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for joining me. I love it when you guys come on and we can just really have a good discussion and talk. All right, so let's dive into it. Knowing your worth in a romantic relationship. It always comes back to, and everything always comes back to, and we'll talk about it a lot. I'll repeat myself a lot, but repeating yourself is the way to really get it right. Everything is always rooted in your own self-love. Self-love is your foundation for everything, and self-love is your foundation for every relationship you have. And by relationships, I mean relationships with everything. Relationships with your body, relationship with food, relationship with family, friends, romantic relationships, your relationship to success, your relationship to money, right? Those are all relationships. Today, we're going to talk about romantic relationships, but those are still relationships. What is your relationship to those things in your life? What is your relationship to money? What is your relationship to your family? You know, where do you think you fall in? What do you think you're worthy of? What do you think you're deserving of? And all of that always starts with self-love. And your relationship to those things is your self-concept. How do you feel you are conceptually in context relating to those things, right? So with this series, we're going to be talking about our self-concept when it comes to romantic relationships. And this one, we're going to be talking about knowing your worth. So let's dive in. The way you know your worth, and what I mean by your worth is, in this particular context, is the way you know how you are regarding yourself, the esteem you have for yourself, how you're valuing yourself in your relationship, is through asking this one question. This is the most important question when it comes to knowing how you're valuing yourself and what your self-worth is in your relationship. What am I tolerating? What am I tolerating? That is the most essential question to ask when you want to know, am I valuing myself in my relationship? And we're talking about romantic relationships. It actually is for all relationships, but this series, let's talk about love, right? What am I tolerating? Because in all relationships, but particularly in a romantic relationships, what you get is what you tolerate. It's what you accept. It's how you condition the other person to treat you. And we usually tolerate things because we think that either A, we're not worthy and deserving of more or better, or B, if we stop tolerating it, then they will leave us. And our fear is that we will be abandoned, we won't be good enough, and we won't be loved, and we'll lose that love. But the truth is, if that love is conditional on tolerating disrespect or abuse or cheating, that's not actually love, okay? So if you want to know what is your worth in a relationship, how are you valuing yourself in your relationship? Ask yourself, what am I tolerating? Are you tolerating disrespect? Disrespect could be verbal abuse, emotional abuse, it could be cheating, it could be financial abuse. Do they use your finances? Do they restrict you from theirs? Are they keeping you on like financial abuse is real. Someone could be using all of your money. They're an adult. Either they don't have a job, don't want to get a job, or they look at you as like their ATM, or maybe they have a job, but they don't want to use their money and they like just taking yours. Or maybe it's those situations where it's you're making money, or maybe you're not even making money, but they control it. They control when you get your money, how you get your money, how much money you get. That's also financial abuse, right? Are you tolerating a situation where it's friends with benefits and you're just pretending that you're cool with it? But you know you actually want the commitment. You know that you want the relationship. You know that you want the title. But you're like, I'm just going to take what I can get. So I'm just going to, I'm going to continue to, have sex and sleep with people, guy, girl, whatever. I don't care. Whatever you love is who I love, okay? It's not about that. You're tolerating a friends with benefit situation because you are fearful that if you ask for more, you won't get it. And you'd rather have some of this person than none of this person. But I also want to be clear that if you just want a physical relationship, that is okay. That's fine. I'm talking about if you know you want more, if you know you deserve more, if that is what you truly want, and you're settling for just the physical, for just whenever this person fancies it, on their whim, on their timeline, on what they want, right? Then that is not knowing your value and your worth, because you're actually tolerating something that brings you discomfort, dis-ease, disrespect, not feeling good, feeling less than, feeling unloved, fearful of abandonment. So if you want to know how you are valuing yourself and what your worth is in a relationship, ask yourself and give yourself a loving yet honest inventory of what is it that I am tolerating in this relationship. Do they not introduce you to their friends and family? Are you tolerating that? Do they have healthy or unhealthy communication skills? Do they shut down? Do they yell? Do they leave? Do they avoid? Those are still unhealthy habits that you're tolerating in the relationship. Okay? So the way that you up your worth and you up your value in your relationships is when you get clear on what are my boundaries, what are my standards, what do I need, what do I just want? Because there's a difference between a need and a want. A need is, I need this in order to feel safe, secure, protected, loved, seen, validated. This is what I need. Versus a want is more of a preference. It's I want 5 children. I want to live in a pink house. I want us to go to really fancy dinners, right? Whereas the need is I need commitment. I need healthy communication. I need respect. I need to feel valued. I need to know that I'm safe in this relationship. I need to know that you're being honest with me. I need to know that it's safe for me to be honest with you. So we need to get very clear on what are our needs versus what are our wants. And that will determine, I'll actually do another video on this because this is huge. This part is very huge. I'll do a whole nother video on this. When we get very clear on what our needs are versus what our wants are, that is the foundation for what we need as a standard. As a standard, right? Because your standard is just you communicating what you need in order to feel safe and protected and secure and loved. And that's why we have standards. Standards are there to communicate to yourself and to others what it is you need essentially to feel safe. Because the reason why we feel insecure in our relationships is because there's a part of us that doesn't feel safe in it. We feel safe that we're going to lose the person, that the person will leave us. We feel unsafe that we're not good enough, that they're going to cheat. All insecurity is really rooted in not feeling safe. So a standard in your relationship could look like we are monogamous, if that's what you want. Because knowing that you have a monogamous, committed relationship, what does that do? It makes you feel secure. And when you feel secure, you feel what? Safe. And that is what we really want to get out of our relationships. We want to know that we're safe in them, that our person and our partner is a safe space for us to be with and to be in, that we can say no, we can say yes, we can say I need, we can say I want, we can say this is my standard, and still feel safe. And the way we get to that place, you're going to hear me say it over and over again, it's rooted in our self-love. Because the way that you become truly safe within all relationships is knowing that no matter what, you have you. What does that mean? That means this. Say I'm in a relationship and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to know my worth. I'm going to know my value in this relationship. I know what I bring to this relationship. I know who I am and I know what I deserve. So I'm going to start communicating what my needs and my wants and my standards and my boundaries are. And even if that person is unwilling or unable to meet those standards, to give me what I need, to compromise on my wants, because again, when it comes to wants, those are things that we can compromise on. That's the difference between compromising and settling. We compromise on the wants because those are preferences, but we never settle on our standards because our standards is what keeps us safe. Okay? So never settle on a standard, but you compromise on the wants. And I think I spoke about this before, but I'll do another video on it because it's really important to know the difference between compromising versus settling. And that is rooted in knowing what are my core needs versus what is it that I want or prefer. And that could look like this, right? That could look like, I know that I need to be a mother. I need to be a mother. That is a core need this isn't true. This isn't me in my real life because I actually don't want children. This is just an example. Say in your romantic relationship, say one of your core needs is I want to be a mother. You want to be a mother. Maybe your want is you want 3 kids. Maybe you meet your partner, right? So your standard is, I know that I want children in my romantic relationship. That is your standard, because that's what you want. It's what's going to make you feel fulfilled. It's what's going to make you feel safe, a family. But you want to have maybe 3, right? And say you meet your partner and your partner says, this is settling. This is an example of settling, and then I'll give you an example of compromising. Settling is, you know what? I don't really want kids. Say you meet a partner, your partner's like, you know what? I don't want kids. I don't want the kids. I don't want to, be beholden to them. They're expensive. I want to travel. I want to live my life. I don't want any kids. Or say you meet someone who already has kids and they're like, well, I already have my kids. Been there, done that. I'm not doing diaper duty. Nope. I've already got my kids. I'm good. Settling says, I'm so fearful that this is the only person for me. This is as good as it's going to get. I'm going to end up alone if I don't just do what this person wants. So you settle for that relationship and you give up having children. That's settling. You're settling for less than what you know on a core belief that you want and need, that you need, right? That's settling. Compromising would look like this. Say you want to be a mother and you meet your partner and your partner's like, okay, let's have kids, but I don't want 3 kids. I want 2 or 1, or I want 4 or 5. Maybe the compromise is, I know that I need to be a mother. I know that I need children, but maybe I could have 2 kids instead of the 3, or maybe I could have 5 kids instead of the 3. You're compromising. You're getting your core need met. You are becoming that mother or father or whoever that you really want to be, but you're compromising with your partner to make sure that both partners are getting their core needs met. That's what a compromise is. You're not sacrificing and you're not settling your core need. You're finding a middle ground where you get your needs met and your partner gets their needs met. Now, if your core need was, I need 3 children for whatever reason, then you stick to your core need. But this is an example of what it means to settle versus compromising. You settle and you sacrifice when you give up what you know in your core you need in order to feel fulfilled and safe and secure. That is the difference between settling and compromising. That is the difference between sacrifice and meeting somebody halfway. That was a little tangent, but it's all rooted in here, right? So getting back on track. Say I know my value and I know my worth, I know what I deserve in my romantic relationships, and I'm not getting it. Not getting it. I feel undervalued. I feel like unseen. I don't feel worthy. I don't feel good enough. But I'm going to start doing the things and asking the questions in order to get there, right? The way you get there, again, it's through self-love. It's knowing that even if the person either is unwilling or unable to meet my needs, and this relationship goes away, this person goes away, that I will still be okay. That the hurt from the breakup isn't going to break me, that the hurt from them leaving isn't going to kill me, that even though it may hurt, even though it may not feel good, I can hold space for the hurt and the pain of them leaving and work through that and still have my integrity intact. That's having integrity within yourself. Knowing your worth and your value in a relationship and being able to hold space for yourself, even if it does not work out, because you did not abandon yourself. You had integrity. You knew what you needed. You knew what your worth was. You knew what your value is, and you decided to take care of yourself first and not abandon yourself in order to hold on to someone, in order not to lose someone, in order to prove that you're worthy and and valuable. You had the integrity to say, this is what I need and this is what I deserve. And whether or not you give it to me, does not determine how I will be. That is living with integrity within yourself. You not turning your back on yourself. And the way you show your value and your worth in relationships is just through that. I know my value. I know my worth. I know what I deserve. I know what I deserve. These are the things that I need. These are the things I'm willing to compromise on. These are what my standards are. These are my boundaries. We can work through things. We can get through things. We can talk about things. And then also being a true partner in the relationship. These are the things that I need. Then ask, what are the things that you need? Because a healthy romantic relationship at its core is a beautiful partnership. So yes, you stand firm in your value and your worth and who you are. But because you're so firm in who you are, that makes you a great partner for somebody else. So that way you can communicate and say, look, this is what I need. But we're in this together. What is it that you need as well? I think a lot of times when we have seen, people talk about romantic relationships and dating advice, it's always so hyper focused. And yes, you should 100% be hyper focused on what is it you're looking for and what is it that you want, but don't miss the other 50% of that equation. Because you would be surprised how much you could either heal an existing relationship that you have with someone or create a beautiful relationship with someone when you actually just ask them, what is it that you actually need in this relationship to be happy? What is it? What are your wants to be happy? What are your boundaries? What are your standards? And then give that person the opportunity to be honest with you about what it is that they actually need and want. Because sometimes we assume that we know what our partner needs or wants. And that's where the disconnect comes in. That's where the confusion comes in. That's where the miscommunication comes in. Because as long as they're assuming and you're assuming, nobody actually knows. And then you're doing things out of a place of not knowing. And nothing good can happen from a place of ignorance. So yes, knowing your worth in a romantic relationship, ask yourself the question, what am I tolerating? And by tolerating, what I mean is, what are the things or areas in your relationship where you feel not honored, disrespected, unseen, unhappy, sacrificing, all of those things, right? That is showing you how you're showing up in the relationship. And that's a direct reflection of what you think you're worth. Because you don't get anything just because you want it. You get what you believe you are worthy and deserving of. And in turn, that is how people treat you. That's what it means by you show people how to treat you. You condition people how to treat you. And having these conversations with your partner is the way to build that healthy relationship. Because again, if we're not speaking up about what pisses us off, about what hurts us, about what makes us feel less than, then multiple things could be happening with your partner. One, they could be doing it and they don't care. They're cheating, they don't care. They're lying, they don't care. They're dismissing you, they don't care. Friends with benefits, they don't care. So a part of it could just be they just don't care and they're going to do them. Another part of it could be maybe they don't know. Maybe your partner doesn't know that you feel disrespected when they stay out really late on a Friday or a Saturday night, when you were like, well, why don't you come home earlier and spend more time with me? But if you don't communicate that makes you feel disrespected, how do they know? And we can't just say, well, they should just know, or I had a really bad attitude, or my tone was off, or why would they even want to stay out with their friends? They should just want to stay at home with me. We can't be that way. So it's like everything, we have to take accountability. We have to be self-aware. We have to love ourselves first. We have to meet our own needs, and we need to get clarity on what our own standards and boundaries and needs and wants are. Because if we're not clear on that, then there's no way we could communicate and therefore expect that from our partners. So we need clarity within ourselves. It's one thing to be like, I know I'm worthy. And it's another thing to say, I love myself and I know what I'm worthy and deserving of. And these are what those things are. ... That is self-worth in action. That is self-love in action. Because it's one thing for you to affirm it in your mind. It's another thing for you to speak it and live it in practice. And the more you practice and the more you do it, the easier it will get. And things will come up. And it's just like anything. It's a lifestyle. It would be great if you could have the conversation once and then everything goes magically better. But usually when in any relationship, it's going to take time. It's going to take time to change. The same patterns might emerge. But commit first to yourself, that you are going to be clear within yourself about your worth and your value. And then commit that you're going to be clear with your partner. And then you might have to recommit to that every day, every other weekend, every other week, until you get into that good groove of checking in with each other, of communicating with each other, of being honest when something bothers you. That's really what I mean. What in your relationship actually really bothers you, but you're tolerating it because you are fearful that if you don't, they will leave. And if they leave, that means you're not good enough, you're less than, you're unlovable, something's wrong with you, you're broken, you're too needy, you're too desperate, everyone leaves, you'll never find love. Because that's really what the core is. That's the core essence of it. I am afraid that if I actually step into my worth and my value, I am afraid that if I actually communicate what I deserve and what I need, I am afraid that if I actually ask for what I want, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it because I'm not good enough. That's what the actual core belief is. I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy. And because I believe I'm not good enough and worthy, I'm just going to shut my mouth and grin my teeth and tolerate all of this disrespect. Because I'd rather have something than nothing. And as long as you're operating from that mindset, there is no room for authentic love to show up. There is no room for people to honor your worth and your value. There is no room for it. So if you want to know your worth in a relationship, start creating the room for someone to love you authentically. And when you love someone authentically or you receive authentic love, it looks like this. I need to know that we are in a monogamous relationship. And that person says, I agree, yes. You express the need and they met it. You could express a want and they compromise with you on it. You can express a boundary. Hey, you know what? Until we are in a committed relationship, I don't think we should be sleeping together anymore. And then you let that person either say, okay, I'm on board with that, or no, that doesn't work for me, and that's okay. And that's okay. But the way you get someone to love you authentically is by showing up as your authentic self. How can someone love you when you're pretending things that bother you don't? Being authentic is saying, This is who I am. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel bad. And then allowing people to hold space for you for exactly who you are. Take the mask off. Stop people pleasing. Stop taking breadcrumbs. Stop thinking that you have to settle. Stop thinking that something is better than nothing, because that something is actually eating away at you. It's eating away at your self-worth, at your self-esteem, at your joy, at your happiness. And it's sabotaging the space that could exist for someone to love you for who you are, for someone to meet your needs, for someone to want to lovingly compromise with you on your wants. Because that's what a partnership is. And then it also creates the space for you to love someone else for who they authentically are. Do you really love this person? Or do you just want what you think is love not to leave? Because if you're pretending, then you're actually not really in the space to know who this other person is. Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying. Okay, hi, Pink Dynamite. Pink Dynamite says, wow. Baka says, yes, keep the lights coming, please. Yes, they are. Absolutely. Okay, so Baka says, how to establish core needs. Okay, so the way I would establish core needs is I would journal. I would get out a journal and I would just think about, I would take a couple of breaths and I would just think about being in the ideal romantic relationship that I want to be in. What does that look and feel like? And I would think, in my perfect relationship, what does that look and feel like? And if it's, I feel secure, I feel committed to, I feel valued, I feel respected, I feel validated, I feel heard, I feel seen, I feel protected, I feel safe, I feel calm, at peace, stability, right? Whatever comes up for you. How do you feel if you were actually in a healthy romantic relationship? Those are what your core needs then become. Your core needs could be feeling safe, feeling protected, feeling committed to, feeling honored, feeling proclaimed, feeling claimed, all of those things, right? And then you could think about the big core needs, and then what does that actually look like? Maybe if you really want that commitment, maybe that looks like being in a monogamous relationship. Maybe it looks like having a title of a boyfriend, girlfriend. Maybe it looks like moving in together. Maybe it looks like getting married, getting engaged, right? So when you get clear on what your core needs are, then you can say, well, what does that actually look like in my life? Because those could look very different, right? Like a core need could be, I need to be committed to. But for one person, the commitment could look like, we're going to move in. For another person, it could be, we're getting engaged. For another person, it could be, we're getting a dog. For another person, it could be, we're no longer sleeping with other people or dating other people. We're just going to be exclusive. So those big core needs can look differently for different people at different times in their relationships, because it's going to, ideally, your relationship will evolve. So your core need of commitment now might look different than your core need of commitment in a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, right? But how you know what your core needs are, you just go within. You just imagine, what does it feel like to actually be in a happy, healthy relationship, and say, what do I feel like in that relationship? And those are your core needs. And then you get clear on, well, what do those needs actually tangibly look like for where I am in my life in this moment? And that's how you know what your core needs are. Okay. Yay! Does anybody else have any other questions or comments? That was a great question. Okay, I guess not. Well, that was it, you guys. That was today's discussion on how to know your worth and your value in relationships. And as always, if you need additional support, you can go ahead and book a one-on-one coaching session with me. Everything's linked below. You can grab our Create Your Dream Life Through Self-Love course. You could join our Facebook group, and you can pick up the self-love journal as well. I have a copy of that around here somewhere. But yes, and subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share it with a friend. Share, because I am telling you, your journey to healthy, happy relationships, your journey to self-love and self-worth, it's always easier with a friend and a little bit of support. So until next time, everybody, take care of yourself, be well, and I will see you next time. Bye!
Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram @Candy Washington. Let's go!